3 weeks ago, you stood in front of the mirror before a dinner you didn't want to go to, and you fixed your collar twice, and you smiled at your own reflection like you were rehearsing it. You walked in, you laughed at the right moments, someone said you looked wonderful tonight, and you said thank you, and meant nothing by it. Later, alone in the car, you sat with the engine off for 4 full minutes before you could make yourself drive home. Nobody at that table noticed the 4 minutes. That gap between the version of you that gets praised and the one sitting in the dark car is what tonight's sky is about to name out loud. 4 signs are going to hear this first, plainly, no riddles: Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. This contact might reveal the exact mechanism underneath hollow approval, the applause you've been collecting instead of the recognition you actually need. If you're one of them, what comes next was written for the exact hour you're in. If you're not, stay, because the mechanism underneath applies to every sign that has ever been told they seem fine. Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. These are the 4 signs tonight's sky is speaking to most directly, and we'll go to each of them in turn. Tonight, Venus reaches 13 degrees and 26 minutes of Libra, in exact contact with the fixed star Algorab. The calculated window opened August 19 and closes August 21, with the peak landing tonight, August 20 at 16:28 UTC. That's the whole span you're working inside, 2 days, not more. Here's the mechanism. Venus is the planet of what we let ourselves be loved for. Algorab, in the interpretations handed down through fixed star work, has long been tied to a gap between appearance and substance, a face shown outward that doesn't match what's underneath. Put those 2 together, and you might see tonight's real subject. The approval you've been collecting may not be love at all. It could just be applause for a performance you've stopped noticing you're giving. That has a cost, and it isn't dramatic. It's quieter than that. It's the 4 minutes in the parked car. It's answering, "I'm good" on autopilot until you no longer know if you'd answer differently. Living inside that might cost you the one relationship with yourself that never gets to see you off duty. Here's what you can actually do inside this 2-day window. Pick one sentence you say on repeat to keep people comfortable, and don't say it once, tonight, to someone who matters. Watch what happens when you don't perform the fine. This kind of contact is treated as a moment when the mask thins, briefly, and something truer underneath gets a chance to be seen. Whole sign houses read from each sign as its own first house is the method behind everything you're about to hear. The position is exact at 13 degrees and 26 minutes of Libra. What astrologers have observed with Algorab is a tendency toward cunning, a sharpness that sees through social facades, and a capacity to name what everyone else is pretending not to notice. When Venus meets this star, the question becomes, what are you pretending about in the realm of love, approval, and connection? For the 4 protagonist signs, this might land as an uncomfortable clarity about where you've been trading authenticity for ease. What matters is the gesture you make inside the window, not waiting until the feeling is convenient. The secret is simpler than you think. Someone has been performing, and it's been you. Notice this first. You've gotten unusually good at being easy to be around. You soften your opinions before you've finished forming them. You agree fast, you apologize first, you fill silences that weren't actually asking to be filled. That's a symptom, not a personality. Tonight's contact sits in Libra's own first house, the house of identity, presence, the body, how you begin. Symbolically, this points toward the exact question Libra tends to avoid. Who are you when nobody's rating the performance? You might notice something specific in the next 2 days, a moment when you start to smooth over a real opinion, and your body registers the smoothing before your mind does. A slight tightness in your throat, a breath held just a second longer than it should be. That's the cost of the performance, and it's been running so long you've learned not to feel it anymore. The relationships you've built on that performance are real, but they're built on an edited version of you, and at some point the unedited one starts to wonder if it's still welcome anywhere. The gesture for tonight is specific. Go somewhere alone for 20 minutes, phone away, and don't fill the silence with anything. Just sit inside the version of you that isn't managing anyone's comfort. Say one true thing out loud to yourself, something you'd edit out of any conversation. Let it be clumsy. Let it be the sentence you'd never let anyone else hear. If you skip it, nothing collapses tonight. You'll simply keep mistaking being liked for being known, and that gap doesn't close on its own. It just gets quieter and more expensive with each week you don't check it. The classical reading of the first house emphasizes beginnings, and in this reading the beginning is not a project or a relationship, but the return to an unperformed self. The house governs how you enter rooms, how you present before you've had time to calculate the presentation. Tonight asks, what would you walk in as if you forgot to rehearse it? Aries, here's the situation. There's a partnership in your life that looks settled from the outside, and from most angles on the inside too, but there's one condition you agreed to months ago that you've quietly stopped meaning. Tonight's contact activates your 7th house, partnerships, contracts, the people you've committed to. What this placement tends to describe is a moment where an agreement that looked settled turns out to still have a loose thread in it. It could be a promise you made to keep the peace, not because you meant it. It might be a partner you've stopped actually negotiating with, because negotiating felt like risking the whole thing. You might catch yourself about to say, "It's fine," when asked if you're okay with a plan you're not actually okay with. That automatic fine is the performance, and it costs you the partnership you thought you were protecting, because the version of you showing up isn't the one who agreed to the terms, it's the one who's pretending the terms still fit. The action inside this window is direct. Name the one condition of that partnership you've quietly stopped agreeing to, and say it out loud to the person it involves, not to a friend, not to yourself in the shower. One sentence, tell them you need to renegotiate this part. You don't need a solution tonight, you just need to stop pretending the original agreement still holds. If you don't, the arrangement might hold its shape while you and the other person both keep paying rent on something that isn't quite true anymore. That's the cost, not a collapse, a slow leak. 6 months from now, you'll be further into a setup that stopped fitting in August, and neither of you will remember when the gap started. Traditional 7th house work treats this as the house of the other, the mirror, the person who reflects back what you're actually offering versus what you think you're offering. The contact suggests the reflection has shifted, and you're the only one who's noticed it so far. Cancer, what does home actually feel like to you right now? The rooms, not the address. Answer honestly, not the version you'd tell someone asking how you're settling in. Tonight's sky lands in your 4th house, the house of home, family, and the roots you stand on. The honest answer for a lot of Cancer signs lately might be managed, tidy, presentable, rooms arranged for whoever might walk in, more than for the people who already live there. Read through this lens. That arrangement describes a home built to be approved of, rather than lived in fully. There's a version of home that says, "Look how well I'm doing," and a version that says, "This is where I stop performing," and those are not the same place. You might notice you've been cleaning for an audience that isn't coming, or keeping a room a certain way because that's how it's supposed to look, not because it serves you. That's the hollow approval showing up in your own walls. You're performing home, and the cost is that you never get to rest there. The decision in front of you tonight is small and concrete. Pick one room and change one thing in it for you, not for how it photographs or how it reads to a guest. Move the chair to the window if that's where you actually want to sit. Leave the book out. Put your actual coffee mug where you can reach it, not where it matches. That's the hollow approval this transit reveals. Applause standing in for love, and you, the only one who could tell the difference. If you say the unsent thing before August 21, something in you gets to stop performing and start being believed. The version of you in the parked car gets to come inside. The sentence you edited out 3 times gets to arrive intact, and one person gets to see you without the polish for once. That might not feel like relief immediately, it could feel like risk. But 6 weeks from now, it might be the moment you remember as the one where you stopped performing fine and started meaning it. If you let it pass, the applause keeps arriving right on schedule, and you keep quietly wondering why it never actually lands. So tell me, what's the one sentence you're still holding back from someone tonight?